Absolute shocker. Mark Zuckerberg is now talking to Joe Rogan about how he is being systematically censored by both the government. On Facebook and on Meta, that is extremely rapid, and I can tell you right now that we are making the German media boil here. Additionally, it is highly relevant for Bitcoin because we also see a proposal here on the same day. A shareholder proposal here to buy Bitcoin at Meta, and it even mentions that Mark Zuckerberg is hinting at Bitcoin. And in the end, you just have to put two and two together. Mark Zuckerberg is now stepping up for free speech. And here, you really just have to put two and two together. Mark Zuckerberg is now stepping up for free speech. Mark Zuckerberg has a goat named Bitcoin. Now, many are speculating whether Mark Zuckerberg is making the Bitcoin move here. Here with Meta buying Bitcoin, but also opening up to Bitcoin. Because free speech is really at stake here. And what is the tool? What is the tool that is the most free? What is the tool, the money that can't be censored? What is the tool that can't be controlled by any state, by any censorship authority, by any Biden administration, by anyone? That's pretty clear. Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin now has a relevant chance to gain more momentum. Let's take a look, because there have already been several such shareholder proposals, like here at Microsoft and others, where they ultimately suggested, hey folks, we want to have Bitcoin as a reserve asset because we have so many reserves that are just melting away and being eaten up by inflation. Bitcoin as a reserve asset counters inflation. The timing is exciting. Reserves that are just melting away and being eaten up by inflation. And the timing of this is especially really exciting right now, because we're seeing the censorship story that's happening alongside the Bitcoin story. We have to honestly say that we just need to be cautious here, because we have always seen the same thing with other proposals, such as Apple, that these proposals would then be rejected here. There was even the story of Michael Saylor, who then gave the big speech here. And here he basically made his pitch to basically implement Bitcoin here, to implement it as a reserve asset in the company, but then that was basically rejected. And that was really, really disappointing at times. Maybe there are actually better chances here at Meta. And by the way, I'm dumb. I probably got too much sun here, because it wasn't Apple, but of course we're talking about Microsoft, where Michael Saylor made his pitch. So Microsoft and not Apple, super important. But let's actually take a look at the interview here with Joe Rogan before we get to the shareholder proposal. To buy Bitcoin here, because this is extremely critical, because if the narrative really shifts towards freedom of speech, if the story goes in that direction, open protocols and censorship resistance have been developed, then this could be a very, very relevant movement for Bitcoin. And one thing right off the bat, the media isn't going to celebrate what's going on here, at least not the German media. And Mark Zuckerberg is going to touch on that right away. One.
You know, it's a chill week. Yeah. Kind of. About this recent announcement you made regarding content modeling. This last at the end, finally.
Recognition, certainly, that you made without a doubt. About content moderation, how was that raised? That probably depends who you ask. It is interesting to see how the central bank, the European Central Bank, for example, has already been corrected here. About community notes, that in the future, if you also implement community notes on Meta, if you do it on Facebook, then false claims about the monetary system or any freedom-related issues can't just be spread around anymore. Instead, the community notes, the crowd intelligence will come into play, and that will ensure that Bitcoin won't be framed in a corner like that anymore. That's why this whole thing is extremely critical for Bitcoin. And that will make sure that Bitcoin won't be framed into a corner like that anymore. That's why this whole thing is extremely critical for Bitcoin. What he's saying here, and as I already mentioned, the ECB isn't going to celebrate that. Other big institutions, any politicians, any MMT folks, they're not going to celebrate that either. But it goes much further. Keep listening. By the way, I also have German subtitles, so you can just read along with the translation.
It's all in the public domain. So the folks from the Biden administration would call our team and they would yell at them and cut them off. And it's like this, that you. The documents are all there. Did you write down the phone numbers?
Well, I don't think.
But I believe, want to hear. The emails are published. It's all there. And it's like we said, we're not going to publish things that are true. That's crazy. They wanted to release this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. The TV series, which is about 10 years later or so. In the recent Siena, that's okay. For the COVID vaccine in their report. The observers 4-4 for the can payment Leximobel in the soft. Class action lawsuit type meme, and they're like, no, you have to take that down? We said no. We're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess I kind of flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he made some statement at some point. I don't know if it was a press conference or just to some journalists where basically he was like, these guys are killing people. Then all the different organizations and areas of the government started investigating our company. It was brutal.
I just got a voice message from a friend who clearly said, hey, Mark, now we're winning. Now things are changing. Even in Europe, worldwide, people are waking up. And that just confirms what Mark Zuckerberg is saying here, what's being laid out here with Joe Rogan. Mark Zuckerberg is now fed up with keeping his mouth shut. He's now standing up for free speech. It makes it very clear how both governments have systematically censored things, how both governments have systematically gone against free speech. And it's not just that free speech is being attacked here. It's now pretty well known that through Operation Jogpoint 2.0, here, banks that had anything to do with Bitcoin or crypto were being massively targeted. Those who wanted to offer Bitcoin or crypto. Look, I'm here at the beach. Really cool. I'm about to show you the caves here in El Salvador. So we're heading over there now. The caves by the beach, they're so awesome here. For sure, with Operation Shockpoint 2.0, it's now come out that there were 25 letters sent to banks, urging them to basically stop their Bitcoin activities. Here, there were just entrepreneurs, companies that had something to do with Bitcoin. Just regular folks who had something to do with Bitcoin, but also here, companies and banks that had anything to do with Bitcoin or crypto, their accounts were just closed. They just got a notice of termination, and for a lot of people, that's really significant. To still be able to do something here in the fiat world. Look, I'm now here in the caves. We're about to go into the cave here in El Salvador. Over there, you can still see an El Salvador flag. Let's freaking go. Now it's getting real, crazy. But that could be coming to an end. With all the censorship stuff, through Mark Zuckerberg, also through the community notes. And that's really important for Bitcoin because Bitcoin stands for, here for free speech, for freedom from censorship, and so on. And that's why everything here goes hand in hand. And Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come. And it looks like everything is coming together now. And now I'm going to show you the cave. You can go in back here. You can walk through here. Look, I'm going to show you this from the front. Let's quickly turn the camera around. Now we're here, now we're going this way. All right, let's go through the cave. You can also lounge around here during the day, when it's warm here. So when it's warm here, people often just lie around, especially when it gets over 30 degrees. Yeah, we're just going to walk through here for a bit, and then we're going to get to the exciting stuff. Yeah, we're just going to walk through the timeline for a bit, and then we'll get to the exciting stuff. One, here with Meta, whether now actually Meter and also Bitcoin Head, because it would now actually fit very, very well into the timing. I mean, it's so crazy how everything is coming together right now with the timing. And look, when you walk out of the cave, you can see this crazy sunset here in El Salvador. It's really crazy. And just like the sun is setting here, it seems like the sun of freedom of speech is rising here in Europe and around the world. And now let's actually take a look inside, into the proposal here from Meta, how Bitcoin is supposed to be bought. Look, this is a really cool location. Up here, there are a few whale villas where probably some Bitcoin whales are chilling or something. By the way, I was also at Mike Peterson's place 2 days ago for the Bitcoin Beach podcast. He's got a really awesome place here. Got a Bitcoin villa going on here. Tomorrow I'm here with Max Kaiser at his place. Invited to a golf tournament. He's hosting a golf tournament here where several Bitcoin folks are meeting up, where really cool people from all over the world come together. Max Kaiser is a Bitcoin legend. He bought Bitcoin for like $2 or something. I'll be there tomorrow. Maybe a live update, maybe a live video on site. Video is definitely going to be fun. And now we have the proposal here, so the shareholder proposal, which is basically being demanded from the grassroots. Hey, Meta, you guys have to get on board with Bitcoin. You can't ignore it anymore. It says here in this proposal, so in the shareholder proposal, that the shareholders are urging the board to conduct an evaluation. Whether the inclusion of Bitcoin in the company's cash reserves is in the best interest of the shareholders. Bitcoin isn't a done deal yet. It's not being bought, but there's a suggestion for open discussion. You can't ignore this topic anymore. Many people are starting to open up because you can't just sleep on this whole topic anymore. So many people are starting to open up now. more and more institutional adoption, more and more companies, more and more private individuals, more and more high net worth individuals who are betting on Bitcoin. And now it would be interesting for Meta to get on board as well. We already have Microsoft, which is really a showcase player here. And we can clearly see that every company that has embraced Bitcoin has massively benefited compared to the companies that haven't opened up to Bitcoin. And back there are those cool rock formations, has massively benefited compared to the companies that haven't embraced Bitcoin. Back here are those cool rock formations. So it's really epic here. There's so much to discover, and yeah, just look around, chill out, and of course make videos too. It goes on to say, at a minimum, Meta should recognize the benefits of converting some portion, even a small percentage, to evaluate its cash and bond holdings in Bitcoin. So it's not saying, hey, take all your money now. They're going in with leverage like Microsoft doing a 100% Bitcoin allocation. And a 1%, 2%, that's already enough. You don't have to go in any crazy way. Leverage Bitcoin, even with small amounts. And then you can take a look. Okay, does this work? Am I going to lose my money? Is Bitcoin really that risky? Or am I even noticing the benefits, the positive benefits? And I'll tell you straight up, the first company that bets on Bitcoin, they will definitely benefit. A lot of people think that too. Predicted that this year, a major company from the Magnificent Seven will bet on Bitcoin. Whether it's Microsoft, Google, Meta, or Apple, that will still be revealed. We'll see. That will still be revealed. We'll see about that. But that's really, really bad. Now, in the game plan, it's definitely expected that big companies will join in this year. It goes on to say that the adoption of Bitcoin by companies and institutions is becoming more common and is proving to be an effective strategy. For example, Microsoft has outperformed Meta stocks by 2,191% over the last 5 years. Just think about that. Outperformed by that percentage. Check this out. And in the last 5 years, you probably don't even need the whole time. Here, the Bitcoin strategy has been in play. So, Michael Saylor has had Bitcoin since 2019. At the beginning, he wasn't really that aggressive with his Bitcoin strategy. That's why this is actually an understatement, but it's pretty clear here. Hey, every company that bets on Bitcoin is benefiting massively. You can see it with Meta too, that it's now the best performing company here in Japan. The best stock in Japan. Just like that, Meta could benefit from this too. And it would really be a very, very good fit for Mark Zuckerberg here. It's basically the freedom tool. He could even turn Facebook into a freedom platform. I mean, just think about it. If X becomes a freedom platform, if Meta becomes a freedom platform, you can also see now that maybe Mark Zuckerberg isn't really like that. The master of censorship was, but that he was just pressured here. And I mean, that's kind of understandable. Because when you're really being threatened by the Biden administration, and you can see how it always ends up for someone like Assange, or whatever, like with an Edward Snowden, or with people who are advocating for privacy or whatever, you can really see how much pressure these governments can exert, right? And Mark Zuckerberg can finally speak up now, because the Biden administration is now on the decline. And the same could be true in other regions, in other governments around the world. There are so many unresolved issues. Even in Germany, all the cum-ex stuff or what happened during the sea time and so on is just the tip of the iceberg. There's still so much to unpack. And it could be that with the falling governments globally, like in Germany where the government is collapsing, and in the US where we're seeing a government transition, these changes in government could lead to more of this coming to light. There's still so much stuff that needs to be dealt with. And it could be that with the falling governments globally, like in Germany where the government is collapsing, and in the US where we're seeing a government transition, these changes in government could also lead to something. That we're really seeing a new momentum here, that we're truly entering a new era, an era of freedom, where Bitcoin will also benefit massively. Get in! And when we enter this era, Bitcoin is probably going to be one of the most valuable and important tools for this transition. And that's why it's so important not to sleep on this, to really pay attention. What's happening right now? Because right now we're not just seeing a financial story, but we're also witnessing a really wild narrative around freedom of speech and censorship and the values of liberty that need to be protected now. If you're still bullish on Bitcoin and want to buy some, I'll drop a link for you below. 21 Bitcoin. The easiest way to buy Bitcoin here in Europe is now with the code Bitcoin. Up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin. I'm signing off here from El Salvador. Bullish greetings here at the bullish sunset. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for always supporting me. See you later. See you later. Peace out.